5 miles is gonna take forever, but that seems like an eternity. I feel like I could barely stay conscious right now. I just don't have anything left in the tank. Pretty cool section. A lot more water than normal. I'm having trouble figuring out how to get across. I'm about ready to just walk across. I'm not sure if I can hop that far, because I bet it's thick. There's the sign I've been waiting to see. But that seems like an eternity. All right, let's go get her done.
Okay, I am here at Burnt Mill Bridge at the end of the current Sheltowee Trace, how they have it set up. Let me do a time check. It is 6:46 p.m. on October 31st. And I am excited for him that he's finishing this. I know he's not getting the time he originally wanted, but it has been a trying adventure. He's put in the work. He did not only the physical training, he put in the work on his food, his calorie intake. He has it all out. The most calories for the least amount of ounces. This dude is a Sheltowee crackpot. You know, I mean, just standing here, this is so exciting. You know, I can feel it in my chest. I can feel it in my heart. I can feel it in my legs. You know, it's just everything. All of my spidey senses are tingling. And I'll tell you what, Dick Clark and his ball drop ain't got nothing on Jason Wish.
Final 2 miles. I feel like I could barely stay conscious right now. I'm guessing I'm gonna get out of here 7 days, 15 hours and some change. Normally a 20-minute mile is a cakewalk when I train. I usually train closer to 4 miles an hour. I just don't have anything left in the tank. So you'll never guess who's meeting me down there to pick me up and take me home. My buddy the Colonel. I wonder what he's got going on special at the trailhead right now. All right, it's getting too dark to have this thing out. I'm gonna put it away and hammer down. And I'll see you at the finish line. I'm sure we'll have some lights up. Final mile. I am in absolute pain right now. This is pure torture and agony. Miserable.
Well, we're staring off into the southern terminus of the Sheltowee Trace, waiting for the illustrious Jason Wish. And I'm going to tell you guys what, when you're standing here in person after waiting all week and following along all week, the last mile that he will hike is probably the longest for both sides of the fence. I'm sure it's excruciating long for him, and the suspense is just killing us here on the spectator side of this event. Well, I don't know if you can see me very well, but there we go. Just got a text from Jason, and I can only imagine the terrible devastation that he went through just now. He just realized that it was 8 miles and not 5, so he still has 2.7 to go, so about an hour to the end. It's currently 7:30, and we're out on Halloween night in the spooky Sheltowee.
Man, I must have been reading the mile signs wrong earlier. I just crossed the road and it said Burnt Mill Bridge, 2.9 miles. Talk about a letdown. That just took all the wind out of my sail. My gosh, I've been driving so hard thinking I was on the final 5 miles, then down to 1 mile, and now come to find out it's 2.9.
Well, 8:15. Still waiting on you-know-who. He's cruising at a whopping 1.24 miles per hour. Still maybe a mile away, I'm guessing. I'd have to compare that with the trail maps. Tell you what, you guys haven't lived until you looked at green maps for a week straight. And then you spend the last few days just camping in a minivan, looking at the same maps over and over and over all day long.
I'm about to lose my ever-loving mind. I'm down to a snail's pace right now. I can hardly keep straight up and down. And then when I found out it was such a long way still, I had to get food out and start eating because I'm starving to death. Oh, I hate this part of the trail so much. Man, I've had some crazy events happen. I'm still a half mile away from being out. And I have 2 headlamps. One of them lasted on bright for quite a while in the woods. Now I'm down here by the river and it started dying. I got the other one out and now it's dying. So I'm charging one right now. Luckily I have a little bit of juice left. I thought I was gonna have to like stay the night out here a half mile from the trailhead because it's pitch black. I can't see nothing. And to make things worse, I'm so delirious and I'm stumbling and falling over things that I have to go like 1 mile an hour. I had to get food out of my bag to eat. I just didn't expect to be out here at 8 o'clock at night. I thought I'd be in a bed or a restaurant or something. Oh my gosh, I'm so sick of this trail. Get me out of here. Well, I'm finally rounding the last turn. And my 340 some mile journey on the Sheltowee Trace will finally be over. It was by far the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Different hard compared to some of the other ones, but the hardest. I cannot wait to go lay down. Here's the end, folks. I made it. Look at all the lights up there. Woo-hoo! All right, I'm gonna turn my camera off and let Colonel do the filming.
Cue the epic music. We have a winter chicken dinner. I see a headlight coming through the woods. We got a sighting of Jason Wish. Woo! Woo! I hope you can see him right up through there. It looks awful colorful in the headlights. We're trying to light it up as much as we can. Here he comes, folks. Oh, I got you on camera. Oh man, he's gonna do the final cross across the footbridge. Look at him go. There he is, got the 2 arms up. Your new unsupported Sheltowee Trace FKT holder. How do you feel?
I made it.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. He finally made it.
Oh, Colonel, it was so horrible the last couple miles. Horrible.
Oh my gosh. We were, whoa, what in the world? We got a special guest.
Are you kidding me? Hey, babe. Oh my gosh.
Now's the epic music. Folks, this has been a long week for Jason, Kristen, and myself. He had just come off the Sheltowee Trace. Let me do a time check real quick. We have 8:47 p.m. He just come off the trace. Probably, I guess 8:46 if you want to get technical. You know, he's looking pretty rough. We'll go right back to Jason now. What are we doing? It's tradition.
You gotta shake it up.
Yeah. Well, I've been shaking it for 2 hours.
How long you been down here?
She rode down with me. No, I'm kidding. Do you have enough strength to even perform this task?
What task?
To open that bottle?
Yeah. I want to get do you have enough? Are you getting good footage through that thing?
I hope. You want to say anything?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
I just don't have the energy to film that fading fast.
Oh, I'm sure.
Now
I'm
the
sure.
adrenaline's rushing off.
Actually, on the Burnt Mill Bridge.
Yes, with another bottle of Barefoot Bubbly.
Oh yeah.
The same one my wife got me from 2019 attempt, and I actually said I felt like I just ran the trace barefooted. Oh man. I won't be able to drink any of this, though. It'll go right to my head because I'm starving to death.
Oh my goodness, yeah, we'll just do this for prosperity. Don't knock me off the bridge with the cork.
Oh, leave no trace.
No trace on the trace.
That's right. I just have trouble doing anything right tonight. I'm down with it.
I'm nervous, I'll be honest.
I'm sitting here like this.
2021 unsupported FKT holder.
Woo!
The Sheltowee Trace. Get off of there.
Oh yeah! There it is! Woo! Congratulations, my friend. Oh no! About left a trace.
All right, none of that went like it was supposed to.
Oh, that's good raw real footage. Wow. Wow. There is a grateful Jason Wish to be off of the trail and moments away from re-entering society.
I can't waste this.
Oh, get it, get it.
What I've been through for the last 7 days.
Which part of you hurts the worst right now?
Knees and feet.
Knees and feet, okay.
Yeah, the knees were great. I mentioned it on my video many times, you know, that the only thing I had problems with was my feet and muscles.
Okay.
From carrying a 40-pound pack, which is what it was when I started.
Yeah.
All right, we're ready to wrap things up here at the southern terminus of the Sheltowee Trace. Normally, this is where I do my outro, but I'm going to save that for tomorrow at Bandy Creek Campground because I have a lot of things I want to talk about my attempt and about the Sheltowee Trace and some people I want to thank. So we're going to do a proper outro and discussion at camp tomorrow. So don't click off. We're going to be right back.
Well, that about wraps up the Colonel's end of Jason's camera. So my outro is, until next time, this is the Colonel, and there's Jason, and I'm wishing Jason a speedy recovery.
Yeah. No kidding. Well, it felt very good to be a passenger in a vehicle and not have to use my own 2 legs to get somewhere. And they said it was my night. My wife and the Colonel, we were heading to Oneida to find some food. It is 9:30. Very unlikely there's going to be anything but fast food. So Colonel punches it into his GPS, and I'm sharing stories about the trace the whole time. I'm thinking we're heading to Oneida. And then we're making some weird turns on these back roads. It's like, how can Oneida be this way? Do we have to go to like Bandy Creek first? Or because I thought that was our ultimate destination. And he pulls in. We're not gonna believe this. We're not at Bandy Creek tonight. My wife canceled Bandy Creek. Oh, I can barely walk. My wife canceled Bandy Creek for this beautiful cabin. Oh my gosh. So it looks like I get a shower and a bed tonight. Hallelujah.
Oh my gosh, there he is, folks. He just made his first post-FKT walk 75 yards to the bathroom. I can't believe it. Jason, that's just amazing. Yeah!
That was a tough walk, man. It took everything I had. It was an FKT in itself.
I am so glad you made it.
Felt like I just walked a whole other state.
Okay, I just wanted to make a quick video here to document 2 days after Jason come off of the Sheltowee Trace and finished his FKT. It's not just all sunshine and back to normal. Here he comes leaving the Cracker Barrel, and he is just traveling at a snail's pace. So he does not. This is all I got. That's all he has. That's high gear.
I need a cane. I need my trekking poles.
Trekking poles to go in.
Trekking poles in the Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, what? That'd been great.
All right, let's roll, Colonel.
All right, I'll be waiting on you in the car.
Well, believe it or not, on our way home from the southern terminus of the Sheltowee Trace, we actually had to drive by the northern terminus. It's hard to believe that I'm back here at the very beginning where it all began. Wow, what a crazy feeling. Colonel, what do you think, buddy? What's it feel like?
Man, it's impressive. It's sad in a way that you may never see this again. But I'm going to say that the last time we were here, you walked a whole lot faster from the parking lot to this sign than you did today.
This is true. Obviously, I am not at Bandy Creek Campground for this FKT wrap-up. I have been home for 5 weeks now, and it darn near took me 4 weeks to fully recover from this FKT. I'm actually still dealing with peeling and flaking skin off the bottom of my feet from having trench foot. And for 10 days, upon my return, I was having pretty bad nightmares of just pushing hard on the trail, trying to get to the next destination. So it was like reliving the FKT over and over again in my dreams each night for 10 days. So that was not very fun. But I've just about fully recovered. I got about 95% of my energy back. I've been able to finally go out and walk and hike again and even run a little bit again. But I'm still down probably 5 pounds. I lost 11 pounds on this attempt. So that has been a long road to recovery, getting all that weight and energy back. So when I was trying to decide whether or not to go back to the Sheltowee Trace, I was weighing my options. Do I try to attempt to set an unsupported time, which the Sheltowee Trace did not have yet, and I wanted to be the first person to do it, or do I just let it go and experience another trail that I've been wanting to see? And in the end, the Sheltowee Trace won out again because I wanted to be the first person to establish that time. But I also wanted to try to set the overall fastest time. And I think that I would have if it wouldn't have been for all the rain and mud. But in the end, I'm pretty happy with my performance despite having things not always go my way on this attempt. This FKT was a lot different than my experience in 2019, mainly because of the rain and the mud I encountered this time. Back in 19, even though it took me longer, I wasn't putting as many miles in per day, and I had a massive blister on the bottom of one of my feet, and then an ankle injury and an Achilles tendon injury. So that really slowed me down and I think kept me from reaching my full potential. I felt like I was capable of going mid-40s every day back in 2019, but I was kind of held to 37 mile per day average on that attempt. So I never felt fully satisfied with my accomplishment in 2019, and I think that's kind of why I went after it again here in 2021. I really struggled with which style to go for. I really wanted to go back and beat the self-supported time because I think I'm capable of doing it. But at the same time, no one had ever set an unsupported time, and I kind of wanted to be the first person to establish that time. So that is why I went unsupported, and also because of the challenge it provided. I like to take challenges on. I like to test myself and see what my limits are. And this one definitely pushed me to my limits more than ever. It was painful. I've went through some pretty bad experiences on other FKTs that really tested me, but this one was by far the toughest. And the memories that gives me and the sense of accomplishment is part of the reason that I do this. Those memories can never be taken from me, and it feels so good that I was able to persevere and push through those hard days where I almost quit, and to set the unsupported, to establish the first ever unsupported FKT on the Sheltowee Trace. So on just about every FKT that I've ever done, I always end up experiencing a little bit of stomach distress, and this one was no different. On episode 2 and 3, I talk about it a few times, and I almost threw in the towel because of that this time. And to go along with that, there always seems to be a few items in my food bag that end up not tasting good to me after a couple days on trail. In the planning process and in the testing phase, I guess you'd call it, where you're tasting some of these items and thinking that they're going to be great for an FKT. For me, there was 2 items this time that I ended up not desiring at all during the week, and those were range bars and the coconut and macadamia nut mix that I had made. The shredded sweet coconut and chopped macadamia nuts, I thought it tasted really good here when I was testing it, but once I got on trail, it was really dry and not real palatable to me. And it's very high calories per ounce, and that was one of the reasons I took it. I knew it would give me a lot of energy, but those 2 items I just could not eat on most days, and those 2 things together ended up being a lot of weight. So I ended up not eating all my food. So let's cut right now to when I got home and unloaded my pack and got my food bags out and weighed my leftover food and all of my empty wrappers. All right, home and all unpacked. This is my leftover food that was uneaten. This is all of my trash. Let's get a weight. Uneaten food, 4 pounds. 1 ounce. Part of this is due to me being sick on day 2 and 3, and I wasn't even able to eat half of my food. And of course, there's always a few items each day your body just does not crave. So that all adds up during the period of a week. Now to the empty packaging, food packaging, leftovers, whatever you want to call it. 1 pound, 10 ounces. Hard to believe that 20 pounds of food yields over 1.5 pounds of packaging. So if I was able to do this all over again, I would probably pack about 16 pounds of food instead of 20. I probably could have got by with a similar amount that I took in 2019. But, like I said earlier, it was a totally different experience, and I felt like I nearly starved myself in 2019, eating 4,300 calories per day. But I think that's kind of the sweet spot for me, that around 4,500 calories. Any more than that, it's just difficult to consume that much food during the day while you're hiking. So just about a month or two prior to my FKT, I lost 2 family members suddenly. And then several weeks before the start date, I lost another family member. So we had 3 deaths in the family leading up to this FKT. And I wanted to dedicate my unsupported FKT attempt to those 3 family members that we lost. My final grandparent on my mom's side passed away suddenly just weeks before my start date. And about a month or 2 prior to that, I lost my Uncle Joe and my Aunt Joni, 2 of my dad's siblings. We miss them all very much, and this FKT is for them. So I have several people I'd like to thank who were instrumental in helping me prepare and plan and carry out this FKT. And first and foremost, like in many of my FKT videos in the past, I have to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He was with me at my side the entire way. I can always feel His presence with me, and He is my constant companion when I am out on trail. So glad I know Him and that He is a part of my life. I know I talk about this every time I go through one of these difficult FKTs, but I'm telling you, I could not have done this on my own strength and power. It was through His might, His strength and power, that I was able to push through many days where I felt like quitting. He was my strength, my guide, and my light. Many times where I was ready to throw in the towel and didn't think that I'd continue on. So I owe Him all the praise and glory for my accomplishment. Next, I got to thank my lovely wife. She has been so supportive through this process. Originally, maybe not so much, but she had a change of heart and was in full support of me taking on this FKT on the Sheltowee Trace. She put up with me being late to dinner many times, missing some family events, and just taking so much time out of our lives to train for this FKT. I mean, I had to devote over 2 to 3 hours to this almost every day of the week. And one day a week when I do my long training hikes, it would be a half a day or an entire day. So thank you so much, Kristen, for supporting me during this FKT experience. I love you so much. Next, got to thank my buddy, the Colonel. Man, what a great friend. He went down to the trailhead with me to drop me off, brought my truck back home, and then went down again to pick me up and to secretly film me on the trail. Not many people will take that much time out of their busy lives, especially as a business owner, to come down and do that for one of their friends. So thank you so much, Colonel. I really appreciate you. Another thing that he did for me is during my training for several months leading up to this FKT, he was a sounding board for me, talking all things FKTs. We talk a lot with each other on Marco Polo. It's an app that's kind of like voice texting, but you can see each other. And we would talk to each other numerous times every time I was out hiking. It gave me something to do when I got bored out on the trail during my training. So thank you, Colonel, for putting up with all my FKT talk for months and months. Next, I want to thank Michael Stutzman. He was well on his way to setting the overall fastest known time on the Sheltowee Trace going supported. I was actually able to pace him for about 25 miles of that during September. We've become close friends, and it's been great being able to bounce ideas off Michael during the planning stages of this FKT, so thank you, Michael. Next, I got to thank Bob Stewart from Pennsylvania. He is the Mid-State Trail FKT holder, unsupported style. It's a similar trail in length to the Sheltowee Trace. We've never met in person, but he has been there for me through text to answer all my questions and bounce ideas off of each other. And I actually beat his unsupported time on the Susquehannock Trail last November. So that is how I got to know Bob. Thank you, Bob, for all your help. Next, I got to thank John Harden. He is the supported and overall fastest known time holder on the Sheltowee Trace. I spoke with him several times, and I appreciate his help with discussing how to best taper down in preparation for my starting date, and for giving me the time to go after on the Sheltowee Trace. So thank you so much, John. I'm looking forward to following you on the Appalachian Trail and possibly on the Sheltowee Trace again in the future. And finally, this last person I want to thank, I have never met in person. I actually just met him during my FKT attempt. He reached out to me on Facebook Messenger after, I think, day 2, when I was ready to throw the towel in. I had fell way off pace and there was no chance for me to set the overall fastest known time, so I thought. And he worked with me to put together a plan on how to get back on pace and to keep pushing when I was ready to throw the towel in. So thank you, Terry Boardman, for being there to motivate me and encourage me on those final 5 days and to help me get back on pace to just about get the overall fastest known time. Next, I'd like to thank you, my viewers, who are watching this right now, for following me on my YouTube channel and just for all the encouraging comments below in the comment section of my videos. I always enjoy reading those and responding to all of you, so thank you so much for that. And for those of you who may be watching this just because you follow me on my Facebook page or the Sheltowee Trace Association Facebook page, thank you so much for all the congratulatory comments during and after my attempt. I enjoyed reading those so much, so thank you for following along on my great adventure. And finally, those of you who may have only followed me on my Garmin Inreach Mini Map Share, that is so motivating to me, knowing that there are hundreds of people at any given time watching me travel down the trail as a little dot on a satellite map. That is so motivating to me. So I often went further than I thought I could because I know I was being watched and I didn't want to let anybody down. So I know that sounds kind of funny, but it really does help when you're out there pushing that long and that hard. I also recently had the opportunity to speak at our local radio station about my FKT experience. That will be coming out as a separate YouTube video here in the next few weeks, so stay tuned for that if you have any interest in watching how that interview went. And just recently I returned from the Sheltowee Trace gathering. It's a celebration for all the end-to-enders or thru-hikers of the Sheltowee Trace for that given year. And I was given the opportunity to speak for about 15 or 20 minutes to share about my experience. So that is also going to be a separate YouTube video. And I also made that part of an entire video of the Colonel and I going south back to the Sheltowee Trace. So that'll be a fun video to put out, so stay tuned for that one in the coming weeks as well. Finally, before I wrap this up, I've been planning to do a Q&A video about my experience on the Sheltowee Trace. So if you have any questions about my gear, my food, my training, about my experience on the trace itself, drop those down in the comments section below and I will compile all those questions and hopefully put a question and answer video out in the coming weeks as well. Alright, it is definitely time to wrap up this video. I know it went really long. Thank you for sticking around to the very end to listen to my FKT wrap up and for taking time out of your day or evening to watch my 8-part video series of my unsupported FKT on the Sheltowee Trace. I really appreciate it. Until next time, I am Jason Wish, 2-time end-to-ender and unsupported FKT holder of the Sheltowee Trace, wishing you a great time on your next adventure.